it going, guys? Welcome back. Today we got some RFAs to talk about. Gonna play a little NHL 19 in the background, little background music, you know, never hurts to have. But this RFA season, there are a lot of very good RFAs going on that are yet to be signed by their respective NHL teams. It's very likely we are waiting this long because everyone's kind of playing a little waiting game, you know, for the one domino to affect. Many look at Marner, but it doesn't really matter. Say Rantanen signs for 10 mil, then that'll set the market for every other RFA. But until then, we get to speculate and try to predict the value of these RFA contracts. So let's start with good old Jacob Trouba. Trouba has been a tough customer when it comes to contract negotiations, holding out on multiple different occasions, and for the second straight season, he has elected to see an arbitrator if the two sides cannot work out a deal. Last season, a deal was not worked out, and the arbitrator made the decision to send Trouba $5.5 million for the year. With Trouba coming off the best season of his career, we can only assume that number is going to go up. If it comes down to arbitration once more, I could see Trouba landing around $6.5 million a year. But bear in mind, if that happens, Trouba becomes an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season, and with Trouba expressing his want to live in the States for his fiance, it really wouldn't be a surprise if he chose to walk into free agency next season to choose a place he and she both would love to live in and where he could ultimately end up playing for the next 7 years. With that being said, the Rangers might have to pay on the higher end to lock him down right here and right now on the long term. So we're going to say an 8-year, $64 million a year contract could be coming for Trouba if he ends up going and making a negotiation and sending that extension with the New York Rangers with an average annual value of $8 million a year, of course. Patrick Laine. Laine is one of the most interesting ones in the bunch. He's proven that he has the ability to be a 40-goal scorer year in and year out. The problem is he's still only been in the league 3 years, and although he has proven he can do it, he has also proven he can slump and isn't a big playmaker to make up for it when he does. This guy is a guy who put up 23 goals before he even reached 5 assists last season, and it was a down season for him, no doubt, and that is a big problem here. You don't want to have that down season on your contract year. You want to light it up your contract year. That's gonna send some worries down Winnipeg. This has bridge deal written all over it. The Jets can't afford to throw this guy 10, 11 mil a year after the season he just had and bank on him being worth it. But if you're Laine, you know you can be a 40-plus goal scorer year in and year out, so you want that money. And settling for 7 or 8 mil a year for 8 years would be silly if you're him. He's going to say, you know what, I can prove myself. So I think Laine bets on himself here, takes a short contract now to get paid further down the road. So 3 years, 7 mil a year for 21 million total there for Patrick Laine. Let's jump over to fellow teammate Kyle Connor. Connor is in a different spot than Laine. Connor is playing on the top line, a top line that's been meshed very, very well over the past season, but still it's a top line where he is playing with two very good players that, dare I say those triggering words, can help boost his stats. Nonetheless, Connor put up similar numbers to what Nikolai Ehlers did, and Ehlers was dished 6 mil a year. Connor could fall in that same ballpark, I think. 6 years, 6 mil a year for Connor at a total of 36 million. Brock Boeser. Boeser is the first of many bright stars that will be getting signed in the years to come by Vancouver. Almost a market setter for the Nucks, if you will, alone. Boeser is a 30-goal scorer lock and great playmaker alone with it if he stays healthy, but he hasn't. He almost reminds me of a younger Taylor Hall. Maybe not the same player on the ice, but the same player from a statistical standpoint and a quote, if he was healthy standpoint. Hall got paid 6 mil a year when he was due. Boeser has the chance to be a steal of a deal, much like Hall kind of has been for the Canucks down the road, I think. Gonna say Boeser at 6.66 mil a year over 7 years. Matthew Tkachuk. Tkachuk put up 77 points on a line playing with Frelick and Gramlin last season and has all but proven, albeit only 1 year, that he can be the centerpiece to a line alone that can help produce offense behind what already is a dominant line of Gaudreau, Lindholm, and Monahan. Calgary is one of those teams, though, that has done a very good job at getting their good players signed under friendly contracts, though, and that could play a big part here. This is Tkachuk's first big year, and Gaudreau had a couple big years before he inked a 6.7 mil a year contract with the Flames. It seems pretty crazy to think of Tkachuk getting anything under 8 mil a year, but how much more do you really think Tkachuk's going to get paid than the best forward on their team? Regardless, the cap has gone up since this contract's been dished out to Gaudreau. I'm saying 7.125 mil a year over 8 years could be in the works here for him. 57 mil in total. Miko Rantanen. I think this is where things start to really paint the picture for the contracts already mentioned. Rantanen, Marner, Point, they could really be the barometer for how much these other guys end up getting paid. Miko, though, had a second consecutive 84-point plus season and has continued to wing one of the most lethal lines in all of hockey. Miko's set for a big payday. Again, I can't stress how important the numbers that Point and Marner get here are. Rantanen may have the best case here where you can look back and say he's the only one of them to produce like this for more than one season. But sometimes it's not always about the numbers. Rantanen for 10 mil a year over 8 years, 80 million total. Brayden Point. I'm going to trigger a lot of people here. A lot. Remember back 5 years ago when Tyler Johnson put up 72 points and he was the quote-unquote next big thing coming out of Tampa? Well, it turns out it was his fellow line mate at the time, Kucherov. Johnson since then has struggled to crack 50 points a year. Kucherov, on the other hand, has proven time in and time again that he will make anyone around him look really, really good. Now, it's ridiculous to say Kucherov put 92 points up for Point this season. He's obviously a great player, but I see him more in the 65, 75 point range. Otherwise, the question is, who's bringing that up? Anyone? Likely not. Tampa has the luxury of no state tax and the luxury of saying, look, Brayden, the best player on our team and maybe the league just took 9.5 mil a year, and the best chance we have to win a championship is for you to take the lower end of the contract and deal here as well. I think it might just work though. Point, 5 years, 8.75 mil a year, and a contract that says I'll take a pay cut now to win a cup and I'll get paid later. Last but not least is the good old Mitch Marner. What an interesting one. The Leafs pretty much said here, Matthews, take what you want. We're not worried about the cap, and we're not worried about Marner. We'll force his hand down the road. Now, does Marner think about that? Doubtful. It's a childhood dream of his to be a Leaf, but he's made it pretty clear. He once paid what he thinks he's worth as well. Albeit playing with Tavares, a loaded Leafs offense, Marner led the Leafs in points last year, and considering there are two guys getting paid over 11 mil a year on this team, and he outpointed both of them, don't think that won't be brought up in negotiations. Yes, these other guys getting contracts is going to be huge for Marner, but I think he's got to have that internal look at, like, look at the guys on my team, what they're getting paid. I got to compare myself to them less than I could compare myself to a Miko Rantanen or a Brayden Point. So don't think that won't be brought up in negotiation. He's still a winger, though, and those are both centers. He's not a goal scorer. You pay the big bucks for the goal scorers. That's why you pay Matthews right away, and you worry about Marner later. But anything under 10 here would be a big surprise here, I think. We'll say 10 mil over 8 years and salary cap held for the Leafs for quite some time. Those are our RFA predictions for some of the bigger names out there right now. We didn't bring up my boy Zach Werenski. Had to keep the bias out of the video. What do you guys think Werenski's getting? Somebody comment down below. Tell me the money Werenski's getting paid. I hope he gets paid. I don't know. The Blue Jackets long-term contract, we're not good with that with good players. He might end up, I don't know, asking to be waived to go play for the AHL team or something. Otherwise, though, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.